Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from tinaheals.com, and this video is about what is magic. And I want to read to you from the Beatrix. Okay, so if you don't know about the Beatrix, it's a grimoire. Okay, and this grimoire was written in Arabic and then translated into Spanish and then Latin. And today I have with me the translation of Christopher Warnock and Michael Greer, which is quite a respectable translation. And from there, I shall read to you a bit about what magic is and what its properties are. You should know that this science is named magic. We call magic whatever is done by man, by which sense and spirit follow by its actions in all their parts, or by which marvelous things are done, so that the senses are led by them, contemplating and marveling. Magic is difficult to understand because it uses connections hidden from our senses and sight. This is because these connections are divine powers placed before things to lure them upwards. And as said before, that the science is too deep and strong for the intellect. So you can never engage with science with purely just academic interest. Okay, because these are higher truths. These are soul truths that do not necessarily appeal to the left brain. They are not direct, logically understandable things. You have to approach them with a sense of wonder and awe, and you have to understand that what we are approaching we do not know of. Okay, because once you really look at it, we see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum and hear less than 1% of the acoustic spectrum. So what is going on out there that we do not see, that we do not hear, that psychic people tell us that it exists? You know, there are sightings of ETs, there are sightings of Slender Man, there are sightings of mythical figures like Mother Mary appearing, or Jesus, or Ganesha drinking milk from his trunk, which led to madness and mayhem and religious madness and mayhem in India about 10-15 years ago. So I mean, what is magic? If you really look at it with just a very scientific approach, you will never approach with your head. You will never understand its mysteries. The place of magic is the how shall I say it? Magic is not to be accessed by our mind or by the intellect. It is intuitive. That's why we say ESP, extrasensory perception. What senses cannot see, what senses cannot hear. It's not necessarily that it is the way it is because we can touch it. Atoms are 99.9999999% empty. Yet they hold form, they hold reality together. Okay, so when you think of the world and when you look at the world through quantum mechanics, it appears like the ancients knew, the magi, they knew. Okay, they knew that everything is an illusion. It's a dream in a dream in a dream. Okay, and part of the science is practical because it operates in spirit by spirit. And this is done by making things similar that are not so in essence. So two things are not necessarily similar. They can be blended with magic. In fact, Paramhamsa Vishuddhananda, if you don't know who he is, you can check out my work on Gyanganj and Paramhamsa Vishuddhananda. He was one of the greatest magicians, Mahayogis of India, Amrit Putras of India. He used to say that every object, has within them all the properties that are available in the universe. Everything exists in this book. We just have to know where to look and how to maybe extract it or add on to it. Okay, or sometimes divide, sometimes multiply. So everything exists in everything, and everything is conscious. There is not an atom in any universe that is not conscious. That is consciousness, okay? Because everything is one gigantic holographic consciousness. And physical matter, as we understand physical matter, does not exist, okay? So everything becomes flexible, everything becomes open, and we can then relax, and we are ready to believe. If not believe, we're ready to look at other things and see they work. For me, the world of magic was very real. It was as real as the films I watched or the books I read, or I was quite a loner, so I really did not interact with too many people. So for me, life was magic and cinema and literature. So, and astrology came onto it with the first books of Linda Goodman, the sun sign books. Of course, I was exposed to Vedic astrology from my childhood, but I really got into astrology and wanting to study astrology through those sun sign books, And then, of course, I was led to theosophy in my late teens, and then moved on to Alice Bailey, and then really started to take astrology seriously. It was not just a sun sign, it was about astrological magic. And I think there's nothing as beautiful as astrological magic, because everything up there exists within us. So I think we are projecting this. We are one gigantic. I mean, how do you know what exists out there if you're not observing it? How do you know the universe exists if you don't observe it? It's called the observer's paradox. Okay, and you should have a look at the double slit experiment and really look at this. Okay, the observer's paradox. So this is the composition of images does this with spirits and bodies, while the composition of alchemy does this with bodies and bodies. So images in astrological magic, in Solomonic image magic, images are created, okay, that blend spirit with matter. So the matter is a direct manifestation of spirit, but alchemy weds matter to matter. So where you transform lead into gold. Okay, so Solomonic image magic is about invoking the spirit into an image and blending it with something from this world, like any of the elements, okay? And spirit by spirit, and spirits and bodies, okay? And alchemy is bodies and bodies. More generally, we use the word magic for all things hidden from the senses, and those things that most people do not know how to do nor whence their causes arise. So magic became occult because it was not something the common man believed in, although I think that magic is something we all believe in, and we believe in it when we are children. Okay, we believe in all possible realities, all possible manifestations. But as we grow older, we are dumbed down, and we lose that sense of awe, that sense of wonderment at nature, at the universe. So magic is special, and you need to really approach magic from the heart, from your soul, okay? And you may not know from whence all this arises, but you must want to know. Okay, it's a deep participation, immersion. By sages, magical images are called talismans, which may be translated violators, because whoever makes an image does so by violence and makes it by conquering the substance of which it is made. So as we explore the Pico tricks, we will see that a lot of this magic is extremely coercive, okay? But when we look at a piece of a text, we have to understand in its historical context. And then we have to understand that we have evolved beyond many things over here. And we do not need to take the coercive aspect, or to just not pick up the Pico tricks because it has dangerous spells that deal with body parts, or, menstrual blood or semen. We cannot ignore it, because we must adapt and we must grow. Okay, we don't need a pig's ear or a goat's tail anymore. These are just energies, and once we look deeply at the symbols, they will reveal themselves to us. Everything is a symbol of something. Everything material is a symbol of something in the spiritual world. What do you think a black cat's head signifies? So this comes about with tremendous meditation, tremendous amounts of dedication and commitment to the craft. Okay, it's almost like walking into something unknown, because here you are trying to read this text that was written in Arabic, and to try to interpret this in a contemporary modern format, and to give it to people who are not interested in coercive magic. But does that mean that we do not pick up this book at all because it deals with coercive magic? No. But here I think what is important to understand, that talismans are by nature violators, because this is the state of, even if you think about it, just forget the astral magic, the astrological magic. Think about it, if you've done something wrong, it's going to come back to you, action, reaction. But you can use a violator to, and you can think that, okay, that evil is not coming back to me. Then you're wrong, because evil will come to you. If you've done evil, you reap what you sow. But what a talisman can do is protect you from negative forces. It can help you find love. But honestly, if you're looking at coercive magic, if you're looking to harm someone, you'll feel it the most, and you'll regret it ultimately, because these powers in this line of study is not for the faint of heart, the cowardly, or the manipulator, or the greedy person. If you're avaricious and you're in it for money or fame, this is going to eat you up. But if you're here to love people, love the art, then it'll only reveal itself to you in a way that you cannot even imagine. So it will reveal itself to you. Okay, so to work victoriously, he makes it with mathematical proportions and influences, and uses celestial writing. These images are made from their proper substances in order that they might receive the aforementioned influence, and this is done at appropriate times. By suffumigation, they are strengthened and spirits are drawn into these images. So what suffumigation is, incense smoke. So you interact with spirits through mirrors and smoke, okay, and candles, of course, or diyas, okay, through yantras, which are more complex. Yantras, geometrical patterns, okay. In Wicca you have sigils. So all of this is about, with mathematical precision. You have to check the astrological times. If you're making a love talisman, you have to make sure Venus is rising. Okay, if you're making prosperity, you have to make sure Jupiter is rising. Okay, so in the eastern side of the horizon. So this is very important. Okay, and these you have to write out sigils, images, and now I do numbers, I do switch words, I do mantras from all over, and you can correct it according to the correct timing. If you see, okay, Mercury is out of bound, you cannot create a sigil. Okay, because sigils, if you can never create a sigil of a planet that's in detriment, or a planet that is out of bound, bound planets are when we cannot see them in the sky, so they are on the other side. Okay, so at that moment you cannot harness the power of that planet. So astrological talismans about are about timing and mathematical precision. And then of course you can add your spiritual practices to the talisman making. Okay, and of course then you light the dhuni, which we call it dhuna, dhoop, incense, and you just invoke the spirits. The spirits come through the smoke. Okay, even during casting a death chart, or during working with any form of astrological magic, or even tarot, you sage them. So you invite the spirit in. That's a very powerful way. Even in your house, when they say sage drives spirits, sage also welcomes powerful high spirits. And if they're spirits with negative intention, they will be gone. Okay. Now, poisons, magical images similarly work in such a way that they accomplish all things through violence. Poisons work in a similar manner. And when they course through a body and change it, reducing it to its nature, because one body is changed into another by the power of the compositions that exist in it. So here it's very easy. It is all about this is somehow breaking the cosmic law according to the Beatrix here. Okay, doing magic. But I don't think so, because images, yes, if you really look at it, they are violators. But if you're using for the good of people, for countries, if you make sigil for, say, to stop the Australian bushfires, this is magic, and this is very valid. This is what some of us are here to do. Not coercive magic, but magic that helps the earth, that connects us to the elements. So, this is something that as you work with this, your beliefs, your morals, your ethics, everything takes its own shape. So you have to be moralistic, of high morals to do magic, if you ask me. Okay, now, so again, this is some kind of violence, because when you mix two chemicals together, they change into something else. So what they were is destroyed. They're never the same again, right? And you should know also that the power of purification that is called the elixir is made from the earth, fire, air, and water. These four powers become one in it, reduced to a common property and nature, because when it enters and penetrates a body, it spreads through all its parts, so that the body might better be altered and more readily obey and be transmuted under the elixir's power. So anytime you're making any purification spell, you are using, of course, all the four elements. The Chinese have added a fifth element of spirit, which is not there in the Western system. But yeah, the fifth element actually works very well. These four powers become, okay, and we did that. And this is about conversion. This is the secret of the elixir according to those sages. Okay, similarly also the elixir in alchemy works by quickly converting a body from one nature into another, nobler one, first overwhelming in harsh and hissing spirit, and removes its qualities and its dregs. So, that Sir Isaac Newton was an alchemist. So there are many alchemists who believe that, lead could be turned into gold. We know that lead can be turned into gold actually, but the process is bombarding atoms. You look up the technicalities of it. Gold can be made from lead with technology, but it's just that the cost of producing gold that way is not feasible. So that's why it's not done. So this is not something that is impossible. It's possible with technology. So magic is actually science. Okay, it's just there's the brother of science. We don't understand it because everything about science has to be empiric, observable. but we can't observe everything. We're human beings and we see less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. There are colors we can't see, the auras we can't see. Think of the infrared camera, right? Now, the word elixir may be translated fortitude because it shatters other fortitudes by conquering them and transmutes them from one property to another until it reduces them to their own. Okay, so there's a footnote here. This passage is reminiscent of the Emerald Tablet of Thoth, a classic alchemical text. The elixir cannot be made except by compounding animals, plants, woods, and minerals into one, as they imply who say that this elixir is made in the same way as the world, since the world is compounded out of all the things we have named. Similarly, the elixir ought to be compounded out of similar things. So whatever magical elixir we are creating has to have these elements: air, fire, water, earth. Air, fire, water, earth. Nothing can happen without them. In the Vedic system, they're called Panchadhatu. Okay? And, okay. We have found in this book called Book of Ordinances. For now, however, we return to our subject. Magic is divided into two parts, that is theoretical and practical. The theoretical part is knowledge of the places of the fixed stars, because from these are composed the celestial figures and forms of the heavens, and of how their rays project into the planets that move of themselves, and of understanding figures of the heavens when they wish to make them. In this is included all that the sages of old have said about the election of hours and times to work with images. So when you must, the election of hours is about, coming, pinpointing the correct time for anything. Okay, I want to get married. This is, when should I get married? It's almost like a horary chart. But a horary chart is like a tarot reading. You have a question, you do a horary chart, okay? So, you should know that those who have equaled the ancients in making images know that the virtue of images consists wholly in the election of hours and the times of the proper constellation and in appropriate substances from which the images are made. So, of course, you have to understand the fixed stars, because a lot of this magic is done with fixed star energy. We have the different planetary spheres, and beyond Pluto is a sphere of the fixed stars. The very powerful, out of this world kind of energy, and if you can harness them, we can create alchemy. Okay, literally we can manifest our heart's desire if you know this powerful form of magic. Okay, and Plato says words, words also form a part of magic, because words themselves have magical virtues. In Sanskrit, there's a word called Vakya Brahma. Brahma is the creator and Vakya is word. So Vakya is a creator, Vakya Brahma, the creator. You create what you say. Okay, spells. That's why spellings comes from spells. Okay, literally. Plato says the same thing. That in fact, if you look at astrology honestly is not outside the scope of Platonic Orientalism. Okay, so it's ultimately you have to understand Plato, and Plato says the same thing, that just as a friend can become an enemy through wicked and insulting words, good and friendly words can turn an enemy into a friend. We understand the importance of words and what we can do with them and how powerful they can be. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Okay, by this it is clear that words have magical power in them. The greatest strength is achieved when several strengths are joined together to overcome, and this is the perfect virtue in magic. This comprises the theoretical part. The practical part in turn is the combination of the three natures with the virtue infused by the fixed stars. This is what sages call virtue, but they do not know how or in what manner this virtue comes to be imparted. When things that have such virtues are brought together at the same time, they have need of elemental heat. This is done by suffumigation, which helps to complete the incomplete virtue. So suffumigation is also very much like yagya or havan or homa. Okay, very, very much like that. Again, suffumigation, communicating with the spirit. I remember I did many havans in my life. I do havans for clients as well. But one of the most powerful ones was Chinnamasta Havan. And you have to offer your blood to Chinnamasta. So before the yagya starts, you have to bring your own needle. And in the ashram I was doing it, they prick your finger, they take your blood as a part of your offering. Without that, the yagya cannot start. So suffumigation, through that they connect to the mother matrix who manifests as Chinnamasta. Okay, Chinnamasta is a very powerful Dasha Mahavidya, one of the Devis of the Dasha Mahavidya. So I don't only do Western astrological magic, I also combine it with Tantric magic, especially the Shakta traditions, even Shaiva traditions. Okay, so elemental heat is very important. Okay, very, very important. So similarly, it ought to have natural heat, that is by digestion. These two cannot be complete, nor are they able to function without the presence of human and animal spirit. So animals, sleeping right there, they're very important to the magical process. You should know that magic is gained by actions and words in one way and more subtly in another. That which is gained by actions and works is gained from the magistry that is performed by the sage in the world of the circle of the moon, and the sage who is mentioned in the Nabatean agriculture. So in the footnotes he says, the work, the Kitab al-Filaha al-Nabatiya in Arabic, was compiled by Ibn Washia in the 9th century of the Common Era, and one of the primary sources of Beatrix. The Latin text refers to it as Liber de al-Filaha, from Arabic al-Filaha, agriculture. It is called the Chaldean agriculture elsewhere in Beatrix. So this is where they talk about this, that the sage in the world of the cycles of the moon, and sage was mentioned in the Nabatean agriculture. As it is said in that book, in the place where it says that you ought to accept the 4 birds. And the part that is gained subtly is from works performed by that sage who works in the motion of the sphere of Saturn. And also the sage who works in the motion of the sphere of Venus. And these 2 sages are also spoken of in the aforesaid book. So there are 2 sages. The ancient Greek sages used to work in subtle ways to change appearances and to make these things appear to be so, which were not. Even Indian yogis, Tibetan yogis. And they named the science of images Yetelegihus, which in the footnotes it says, an Arabic attempt at the Greek word entelchia, that which completes or manifests, which is translated the attraction of celestial spirits. And this name is applied to every part of magic. Okay, attraction of celestial spirits, how we attract, even when we do archangel oracles or all that, we are interacting with the angels and the archangels of the celestial spheres. So astrology is the basis of a lot of magic. Okay, no one is able to attain this science except by astrology, nor are they able to proceed beyond the study of astrology unless at least they know the figures that exist in the 8th sphere and their motion as well as that of the other spheres, and the division of the 12 signs of the zodiac with their degrees and their natures and the qualities of each sign and their correspondences in this world, and the divisions of the planets in these 12 signs and the movement of the zodiac when other things are said to be conjunct with them, and the nature of the 7 planets and the head and tail of the dragon, which is of course the north and the south node of Rahu and Ketu. Now, north node of the moon, south node of the moon. These are the things without which it is impossible for anyone to achieve mastery of the science, and all of it may be found in books of astrology. This is what the first sage says, who is described in the aforesaid Nabatean agriculture, when he says, "They have raised me above the 7 heavens." He means by this anyone who knows all the motions of the heavens and their qualities by the power of understanding and the senses. This is likewise what God meant when he said, "Let us exalt him on high." So even in the Islamic tradition, Muhammad has the highest place in heaven, just under God, okay, just under Allah. Muhammad has the highest place in heaven, in Jannah. And Jannat. Let us give to him senses and intellect so that he might be able to penetrate the highest of sciences. Wow, I think we did it. So that was, I think, chapter 2 of book 1 that we read, what magic is and what are its properties. So I hope that sort of took you through magic and the understanding of magic and how you can approach magic. If you want to do that in life, see magic, you can use that as a switch word. You can even say Venus magic begin now. It's a very powerful way to do astrological switch word magic. Venus magic begin now, Venus magic begin now, especially if Venus is in a, say, Pisces, because she's exalted there. So Venus in Pisces, no hard aspects, and Venus is rising on the eastern side of the horizon. You're like, Venus magic begin now, 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 and you can manifest Venusian things, money, beauty, attraction, okay, a luxurious life, all of that. Okay, and I will be discussing more on how to invoke the planets and do magic with the planets while I study the Pico tricks with you and look at other sources and other notes and other systems, and take the approach of syncretism, how we can sync all the cultures and how we can connect the dots. I hope you like that video as much as I like making it for you. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and please support me in any way you can. Thank you.